Brian White is still in China.
That's true. That is
We
true.
concluded the first half of this program 5 minutes ago, and he hasn't left China yet. But this was yesterday night, I think, because this is probably being shown at around noon on Tuesday before earnings call, because Brian and I wanted to go over a few more of his thinking, his way of thinking, his confused, yeah. Brian, are you ready for some more questions about earnings?
To me, it's more of a yearnings call, but yes, I'm ready.
Yes, a yearnings. I see. So I wonder if you are yearning for an update on regulations in the United States, Europe, and China. Do you think that'll happen?
Every day, there are so many different regulatory agencies and bodies around the world. And if it was one company we were talking about, they could stall it indefinitely. If this was only Waymo who was trying to do driverless cars, we would see very little progress. And we did for a long, long time. Right. Even though in 2016, Waymo had demos that were fantastic, that looked like it was solved. We couldn't see that these were not automobiles. These were large metal puppets being operated remotely by very skilled puppeteers. So now it's everybody who's trying to do it. In China, there are every brand has their eye on autonomy. Every car in every showroom, with the exception of the lower cost brands, the 𝐓𝐿Ings and the Rose, things under 20,000, not so much on autonomy, but the rest have it. And they need to get the framework in place, not just in the US, but in all the other markets where they hope to do business as well.
Okay, so therefore you think that China might be getting closer to some, and I guess the point is, do you think that as part of this company update tomorrow, instead of an earnings call or a conference, it's a company update, do you think that talking about these regulations, which I would think would be a big time important aspect of this entire thing, do you think we'll get any of that?
Regulation talk on the earnings call? I don't know if we will. I think the extent of it would just be, and it's ongoing, because if there was anything big to announce, these are government bodies. They would have announced it first. You know how they don't like surprises.
Yeah.
So I think that, I think just the fact that they would just say it's just ongoing, it's moving along.
One of the things that a lot of the people in the Tesla community on X in particular, Gary Black being a leader of the pack on this, but others, not just Gary, have been talking about is somebody licensing FSD. And I heard at least one or two people over the last week say this could be the big surprise tomorrow, is that there is somebody ready to license because, again, anybody that's driven the cars right now, they know it's a done deal. It's that we're no longer talking about maybe someday. It is ready to go. So if Ford or General Motors are BYD or any of these companies, Toyota are driving these, testing them, they got to be seeing the same thing. So the potential for licensing would seem to be at hand.
So it's not going to be BYD, and I don't think it's going to be any of the Chinese brands. There are some partnerships already taking place here. I think it's Voya who is using the Huawei system because we don't have the kind of money it would take to develop that ourselves. Let's just use somebody else's. It just makes sense. That's a fantastic deal for Huawei. Not a very good deal for Voya because I guess it allows them to continue selling cars to have as good as the competition because you're using the competition. But they don't monetize the autonomy here the way we do with Tesla. They don't make it.
Feature, huh?
It's just another feature. It's just something that's already there. Now, most of them are not as good as autopilot. Now, they have more features than autopilot. They can do lane changes and stoplights. But they're not as sophisticated as, as reliable.
Yes.
I saw a video yesterday on X. Someone took out 10 different Chinese vehicles on the same road that had a tree in the way, planted like in the courtyard kind of thing, and you had to drive around it. And of the 10 vehicles, only Tesla was able to navigate around it. And most of, if not all the others, had LiDAR. People are like, well, wait a minute. I thought LiDAR was better. LiDAR's just a form of perception. It's not a silver bullet. If the perception is flawless, but the brain is bad, well, there you go. It doesn't matter how good your vision is if if the system itself can't understand the world. So I like the theory that we could hear of an announcement. Discussions have been ongoing for years. If you're an auto manufacturer and you're not having those discussions at some level, you should be fired.
Yeah.
That's not exactly encouraging. We know a lot of auto executives who absolutely should be fired. We've seen some of the degrees of incompetence over the years, so I'm not convinced that all of them would be smart enough to do it. But in terms of systems available within the US, within Europe, Tesla's kind of the only game in town for auto manufacturers. So it would make sense to me to see, for example, Stellantis move forward with it. Stellantis would be an ideal candidate because they produce in Europe, they produce in the US, and through partnerships, they produce in China.
Right.
So they could literally go fleet wide with it, and an announcement alone would boost their stock, which their executives are happy about, and give them 3 years to either do it or set up the next CEO for failure by not doing it, which is more likely, but it's possible.
So the next one I wonder is, and I didn't think of this, I wish I had thought of it, but I saw somebody post it a little while ago on X. Do you think we could get a couple of announcements about exporting the Cybertruck?
Oh boy. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's something that we could absolutely see. It would be revenue wise, it would be a footnote. Enthusiasm wise, it would be huge. We saw the posters for Cybertruck in Saudi Arabia. Well, yes, but Saudi Arabia is a very small market, right? But they'd be buying the 100,000 version,
Right.
they'd be buying the Cyber Beast almost exclusively, I wager. So they would be. It doesn't take very many of those markets to be done, and while every country has their own road rules, most countries just select another market's road rules and say those are ours. Do we really want to develop our own version of NCAP, or should we just use Euro? Should we use the US safety? Just use somebody else's. If it's good enough for them, it's probably good enough for us. And if it's approved in all of North America, surely there are other countries that would allow it.
Right. So that would be kind of an interesting one tomorrow. Kind of, it wouldn't necessarily be the thing that moved the stock, but it would be fun. It would be,
Why not?
fun.
Why not? Let me take the other side on that front for you. It wouldn't, revenue wise, we're talking, hundreds of millions, maybe low billions. In terms of a company as big as this, that's not a lot of money, but investor enthusiasm can absolutely move the stock.
True. That's true. Absolutely 100% right. And tariff issues. I know that there's no question in my mind that they will have to put that in the basic presentation tomorrow, because it's obviously a financial issue that they'll need to address. What are for me, the batteries and the rare earths for motors are the two that I would think would be maybe the screens for the for the entertainment center. Are there any in particular that are on your list? Or are those kind of the same for you? How difficult do you think these issues are, etc.?
Let's start with the biggest tariffs, China. Tesla doesn't get a whole lot of parts from China. They get The some of the critical elements for the batteries and motors, it's possible. Now, the rare earths are not officially restricted. It's just that you have to have a permit to export them, and the office that signs the permits is not available right now for you. They're
It's
available for someone, just not
right.
for you. So it's entirely possible that Tesla could continue importing those materials while you and I could find our supply unavailable. And Elon has a very good relationship with the Chinese government. He stays uh, out of their way. He doesn't make waves over here. X is banned in China. He doesn't say a word about it. It's fine. So he has played the diplomatic game correctly here in terms of keeping operations running. So what you've got to look at then is, what is the impact? Well, let's now talk not about China, but about Mexico and Canada. The US is, I mean, these are the three largest trading partners:
Right.
China, US, Canada, Mexico.
Right.
Uh, there are a lot of parts that for Tesla that come from Mexico and Canada. Those will have a material impact on either on cost of goods sold. So whether are there even enough parts to just domestically get them right now? Probably not. And if there are, it would still increase cost of goods sold. There's no free lunch. You don't just bring back factories, pay the same price. That's not how it works. CEOs were glad to shave a penny or a nickel for decades, and that ended competency in a lot of products and fields. So there will be an impact of tariffs. Absolutely will. Unavoidable. Less of an impact than what we may see for other manufacturers who rely heavily on imports, the importation of parts. Some of them, well over half their cars are bits that came from somewhere else. So it will affect Tesla. I'm not worried about the screen. You know, that might add what, $50, $80, but it all adds up.
Sure.
So yes, there will be an impact, and hopefully not a lasting impact, but remains to be seen.
Okay, so I've been using this analogy a lot, so I'm going to apologize to those who listen all the time, because I know some of you listen to every single minute, especially when Brian's on. Anyway, Tesla
Well, you
is
don't have to apologize to me because I haven't heard it.
so Tesla is basically a battery company who wraps the batteries with products. And so everything revolves around batteries. You've got to have enough of them. You've got to be the best at it. You've got to be able to make the batteries that are giving you the results that you need, the features and benefits that you need. I know we've got CATL coming in today saying that they're now going to have a battery that charges faster than the very fast charging of BYD, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But my question really is, at the very top of my list in terms of importance tomorrow is, I would have loved to have had like 15 minutes on the batteries. I doubt if we'll get 15 minutes on the batteries tomorrow, but it would seem like, after stating last time that there's a shortage or there's a problem, the whole tariff thing and the whole problem getting stuff in and out of countries could radically change even that shortage problem to something really bad.
Mm. So I've had to deal with. I make a video that says China's got a pretty good car, and next thing you know, my comments are flooded with, "Yeah, Tesla's doomed." So no, that's definitely not what I said. If the new Mustang looks pretty good, that doesn't mean the Corvette is doomed.
Right.
That's just not how any of it works. Yeah, Mercedes is the Cadillac of automobiles. I don't even know what you're saying. Tesla gets all their batteries from China. No,
No.
the overwhelming majority comes from Nevada. The remainder comes from either Cato Road in California, in Fremont, or from Giga Austin. Giga Texas there has substantial battery production. Some of the elements that go into the batteries come from other countries, but the supply chain appears reasonably resilient. Is Tesla just Tesla would love to buy your batteries. whoever you are, but you're not producing them in sufficient quantity in places that allow them to cost effectively purchase them. So I don't know. I don't know if that answers the question, but I think we know there was a video recently with the 4680 designer
Mhm.
uh, on Monroe Live, where he talked about some of the changes that have taken place. The cathode is dry, the electrode is dry. Those make it very easy for them to scale production in ways that people using the old method of manufacturing simply can't do. They would need larger factories and longer and longer lines to increase their throughput, because at some point the kiln becomes the limiting factor. So I don't know how they would do that. For Tesla to increase battery production, they would need to, for example, purchase equipment from CATL and install it in Nevada so they could make the Cybercab. Wait a second. Didn't they do that a year ago? It's almost like this company has a plan.
So that's the kind of thing I'm hoping to hear tomorrow is what's happening to Reno, what's happening to Panasonic in Kansas, what's happening to, I think it's LG in Georgia or someplace. I mean, Panasonic in Japan was supposed to be making 4680s. I think South Korea was setting up a new battery factory that we maybe were going to get some of our product from. I may be wrong on a couple of those or slightly off, but those are just some of the things that have been talked about, which I would love to have an update.
I know some of those factories have either been put on hold or canceled entirely because of political uncertainty and chaos in the U.S. economy. It is too large of an investment to gamble on without some degree of certainty, and that's going to have a permanent downside in terms of the U.S. falling behind falling further behind as a global leader in EVs. So what I'm hoping for is to see, where are the batteries coming? I would love for Tesla to say, look, we're now going to be switching to 800 volt on everything. We've got the faster charging batteries. I don't need that in my car. I would like it, but I don't need it.
Right.
And I think that right now Tesla's focused on the need, and the need is Cybercab, full autonomy. Do I really care how much time it takes to charge if it's 5 minutes less, if I'm not even the one doing the driving? If the time we stop to charge is my opportunity to actually do something other than sleep in the car? I don't know. I don't think it's as critical.
Yeah, well, I mean, we know that the question will be asked tomorrow. I guess my my interest is that they give us a lot of answer, not just oh yeah, the 4680 is doing fine. I've liked it
Right.
as a stockholder and also, of course, as a broadcaster or what do we call it, podcaster. I would love to be able to have that information as part of the set of knowledge that helps you and me do what we do.
I consider myself more of an anchor, but not in the news sense, in the literal sense. Like I stop ships
You
from
stop
moving.
ships. Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard that about your face or something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How
Yeah.
did that one go? I forget. It's been so long. He had a face that could stop a ship, or she had a face that could stop.
That could launch 1,000
Lots of
ships.
thousand ships.
I don't know. I think it was meant she was so pretty she could start a war, but I think these will not be brought up in the earnings call.
Okay. Yeah. So, all right. So I have run out my list. Did I leave something out that you think I should have included?
I want to share a quick story about the difference between owning a Tesla and owning anything else. You ever come back to your car to find that it's dead in your whole life ever? You get to your car, you get in your car, you turn the key, and maybe you left the dome light on,
This
and the
has
car
happened.
just won't.
This
Of
has
course it
happened.
has. If you have driven enough, this has happened to you. Well, I looked on my app and I found that my car was low. My car's in Portland. What do I do? Well, I thought of who I know, and I sent him a key on the app and said, could you pop by and move my car over to where the free chargers are in that lot that I didn't know about when I left? And he said, yep, I'll do it after breakfast. And I just checked my car is charging, and it will continue charging until I return. That's not something you can do in your Kia Sorento.
Yeah.
If your Kia Sorento, first of all, you wouldn't know that it had died. And even if you did, what are you going to do? I can't send you a key
Yeah.
to my Kia Sorento,
Yeah.
especially if it's dead.
Yeah.
Uh, so,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I guess we're going to come up with a time here, maybe by the next time you go to China, maybe even before that, where you'd be able to, if it was a mechanical issue, you could look it up on your app here in China, and you could tell the car, they could let you know that it's ready to be taken in, and you could tell the
mhm.
car to drive itself over there, put itself through the system, and come out the other side and go back and park itself.
I don't know how I'd pay for the parking. So it couldn't leave the lot. But on this also, I didn't even tell Ron where I had parked
Oh,
because it's on his phone. He can just it's right there. That's where I parked. And the same is true of, like he said, he told me where he parked it. I don't need you to tell.
yeah, yeah,
It's on my
yeah.
phone.
Yeah.
So it is, yeah, it is a different experience in every way,
Yes,
and a better one.
I've said this before, but it's been a long time, so people may not remember that my wife says multiple times after we first got the car, we'd be passing other cars on the freeway. She goes, "I feel so sorry for all these people that don't have a Tesla."
They don't know. They don't know. That's why test drives are so dangerous, is especially a guided test drive where you have someone to tell you all the little things that you should notice and how to use them.
Did you hear about the new 2-day test drives?
No.
Yeah, that's what they just announced that this morning. You can now take the
Wow.
car out on a test drive for 2 days.
Wow. Wow.
Pretty.
That's fantastic because it means inventory cars will be cheaper in 2 months because they'll have this many more miles on them.
Now, maybe if you had a 7-passenger that you could get that way, you'd be a
Yeah.
happy man.
Just get me a 7-passenger. Just make it happen, Tesla. I know you're watching this. Definitely.
All right, Brian, thank you so much from China. And be sure to follow Brian everywhere he goes on all of his channels and things. And it's always going to be the same. It's going to be futureaza.com. No, you don't have a .com.
I
Yeah,
do, but it's not really built, and people go look at it and go, well, that's not Brian's. It is. It's just not built.
yikes. Well, okay, everything else on X and on Y and on Z and all those things, you can find Future Aza. Brian, thank you so much as
Yes.
always. And to all of you out there, it's been great talking to you.